104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports national championship going on tonight. And now helping us out, breaking it down, Will Gunter. He joins us. He's part of South Carolina 107.5 The Game. As a matter of fact, he's the morning drive. So, Will, Clemson, they just beat the living daylights out of Ohio State in the semifinals. They were the underdog in that game, too. Why were they able to be so dominant against Ohio State?
Living down here in SEC country and watching the SEC for so long, you saw what made a difference, and that was defensive lines and the speed of defenses. And I'm not saying Ohio State lacks that, but what I am saying is that Clemson has built one of the best, if not the best, defensive line in the country. I mean, you look at a guy like Christian Wilkins, who obviously came from y'all's area and is a very, very talented player. You had a guy who was a top 5 recruit, I think, depending on which website you look at, a top 3 recruit last year in Dexter Lawrence. You see guys like Austin Bryant and Cleveland Farrell. They right now are a defensive line factory. And I think that, you saw that last week on full display against an Ohio State team that, quite frankly, I've always thought since Dan Mullen left, Urban Meyer has struggled, and that was back in his Florida days. But I've thought since Dan Mullen parted ways with Urban Meyer, aside from a 1-game stretch, there a 3-game stretch with Cardell Jones, they've struggled offensively. And I think that's what got to him last week. I think that's why Clemson was able to dominate in the fashion that they did.
The quarterback, Deshaun Watson, he's had an up-and-down season. He finishes second in the Heisman Trophy, but he's a top 5 guy in interceptions in the country, and he dominated Alabama last year. Is he the key to this game for the Tigers tonight?
Well, he is, and it's in a different way. When Clemson's played big games this year, they've been willing to run him. They've utilized his legs. When they've played, I say mediocre or lesser opponents, they've not utilized him in the run game quite as much. And a perfect example of that is they played Pittsburgh, and he throws it 70 times. Deshaun Watson is a very capable runner. We talked a lot about this prior to the start of the season. He was very upset at being labeled a dual-threat quarterback, and I think at times he's gone out of his way to not be that kind of quarterback, and it cost him 1 game. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't label him the biggest key. That's not what I talked about this morning on my show is the biggest key. But I do think that, yeah, he's got to go out and play well.
We got Will Gunter with us right now for 107.5 The Game in South Carolina here on 104.5 The Team. So, Will, I watched this Clemson team again against that Ohio State team, and I was amazed. Are they actually better than they were last year?
I think they are. I think they are. I mean, you're talking about a year of experience for a lot of guys. Wayne Gallman at running back, Deshaun Watson. You've got conceivably the best wide receiver in the country now, healthy, and Mike Williams. Deion Kane is actually going to play in this game and has a year of experience, and that's not counting guys like Artavius Scott and Ray McLeod. The offensive line is a year older. You got to remember also, too, last year in that game, one of their key defensive backs, Mackenzie Alexander, went down very early with an injury, and that ended up costing Clemson some possessions there and some points late in the game. And so I definitely think Clemson is actually a better football team. Their record's not the same. They lost a game this year, didn't lose a game last year. Well, let's be honest, they started the season with a target on their back, and it's very, very difficult to go through a regular season undefeated. So I do think they're a better team tonight than they were a year ago.
You're right there in South Carolina. How are the Clemson fans feeling right now? Are they confident going into the matchup? Are they nervous? Do they think Alabama can dominate? Give us the pulse of the Clemson fan right now.
I think they're hungover. They're all in Tampa right now celebrating. If Facebook was anything. No, they I say that answers your question right there about they are all in Tampa. I mean, it is a mass exodus out of the state of South Carolina right now. Car flags and orange and purple, those $2 bills that they give out at restaurants. And they're down there because, A, it's a close trip and you can get there, but B, because there is confidence that this is the year that they're going to return to national prominence and win a national championship. They think that they've got the formula to get it done, that formula, again, starts on the defense, and that they've got the players to slow down Alabama tonight and get the job done.
Will Gunter with us right now. Dude, what does this do for Dabo Swinney if they win? What does it do for his legacy?
Well, I think it vaults him up there. I think you start talking about, I mean, he might be up there already. You're talking about 6 straight double-digit win seasons. You talk about the recruiting he's been able to do. But do you guys, think about this, I'll kind of turn that around on you guys. Okay. Do you put him up there with Urban Meyer, with Nick Saban, with some of the other coaches across the country, with Bob Stoops, and even a guy who I think is coming back to college, Chip Kelly? Do you put Dabo Swinney up there? I can't answer that. You guys can. But I think if he wins this, all of a sudden that whole body of work, what he's done the last 7 years, really comes to play a little bit more, and people gain more of an appreciation for what he's done as a head coach.
That's a great question. We'll be discussing it probably today and tomorrow, so we won't spoil it yet. But we have one question before you get to your prediction for the game tonight. We right here are your home for the New York Jets. The Jets are wondering about their quarterback future. We've talked to people that are huge fans of Deshaun Watson. How do you think his game will transcend to the NFL ranks, and do you think he should be the number one quarterback drafted at some point in this NFL draft?
No, I don't. I think there are kids, Tim Tebow's a great example of this, that are really good college players. They can be okay. They can be quality NFL guys. Deshaun Watson, at the end of the day, he's a dual threat. And, I guess how do you weigh now he's not as elusive as Robert Griffin III, but how do you view Robert Griffin III's career to date? I mean, look, nobody's going to go to Cleveland and succeed, but I would compare him to a Robert Griffin III. I don't think he's the same runner that Griffin was, and he's probably a little bit better of a passer, but at the end of the day, it's hard for me to envision, especially the way that offense is set up for Clemson as well, for him to go to the NFL and have this great 4 or 5 Pro Bowl type NFL career.
Well, before he gets to the NFL, he's got to play tonight's matchup, Crimson Tide versus Tigers. Your prediction, what happens tonight?
I said this morning, 31-24, I think Clemson wins. And the reason being is you look at the numbers, you look at the facts that we have to go on. When Jalen Hurts and Alabama's offense has gone against quality defenses, which would be Florida, Hurts' numbers weren't very good. When you look at who going against LSU earlier this year, the numbers weren't very good. And even last week, or a week and a half ago against Washington, the numbers were not great. And I think Clemson is the best defense that they've faced. We started this interview talking about that. And I think that defensive line causes problems. The question for me is, can Alabama force another defensive turnover? That incredible string that they're on this year, that might change things. But I think the Clemson defense is the difference in tonight's game, and I've got Clemson winning 31-24.
I like that prediction. It's definitely gonna be a fun game no matter what. Will Gunter with us right now on 107.5, the game in South Carolina. We appreciate you taking some time and giving us the insight.
Hey, I always appreciate it. Hope you guys. It's like I think 28 degrees down here in South Carolina right now. People are going insane. They shut everything down over the weekend, so I don't know how cold it is up there. But if it's anything like here, it can't be fun.
Yeah. We're about 10. We hit double digits a little while ago.
Dude, we were watching that Packers game yesterday. And I'm like, look, we're close to that temperature. Look at that. There's 13 degrees. We're like 10 degrees off. It's almost like we're in Green Bay.
Well, I hope it warms up for you, man. Or maybe you can sneak down to Tampa.
Hey, you want South Carolina weather? It was 28 yesterday. This coming Friday, it's supposed to be 72.
Woo. You get all the seasons in 1 week.
That's exactly right. I'm wearing a sweater today. I'll be in a bathing suit on Saturday.
All right. Well, I'm jealous of that. Will, man, I appreciate you, and good luck to your Clemson Tigers.
Hey, thanks, man. Y'all take care.